My name is Betty Semance at Nee Crockford, which was changed 64 years ago. I am 87 years old, and there are times I feel like 107, and today, so. I am a Wintonian, and I've left Winchester when I met my husband, and that would have been back in 1951, and we were married in 53, and then we moved away mainly to start off home in Slough. I've got a brother who is still with us. He's 94. I had a sister until 2 years ago, 90. She died when she was 90. She was a GI bride, so all that was very exciting back in the war. And that's not the Great War, that's the last war. And there's then myself, I'm the middle one. My voice is choky. Can you still hear what I'm saying? And then I have a brother who is only 86, 85. And then we had the baby of the family, and she's 81. And when she's around, she's my carer. But so we were big family, and I'm going back before the last one. I'm going back to the middle of the 30s. We had a caravan down at Hillhead. If you're local, you might know where that is. Leon Solent, around that area in the south of Hampshire. We had a caravan and we had a car. Again, that doesn't make us that we were rich, because my dad was good with his hands, and looking at it, seeing him now, if I'm visualising now, I think of him as one of the trotters in the name's gone, but it's one of the trotters who was always going to be a millionaire. And I'm sure that if Dad had been better with his letters and that, I'm sure we would have been, because he was great. He was an engineer. He was a maintenance engineer. And so every summer we had the caravan, which he'd built, and it was like a square box, but it had 2 bunks one side, so it was adults on the top bunk, all the kids on the bottom. And when I say all the kids, that would usually be another family as well with us. And how when I, again, in age now, when I look back to think what my mother did at those times, and especially when it was leading up to the war, of course, the holidays there stopped when the war started, because that was right along the coast. But leading up to that, it was just heaven. It was heaven, because we wanted for nothing. We wanted for nothing there, and we had such fun. And when I think back, I can only think of Enid Blyton's books, the famous 5. I don't know if you know of that, but I'm sure anyone that's my age will know that. And when I think of it now, we just more or less lived off of the land. And that was joyous. That was joyous. And I say that I had the GI bride sister who could say later on about, oh, we were so poor. I think that was using a bit of this poetic license when she got to America. I think she made more friends at that point, saying how poorly we were during the war and all those times and when we grew up. I just feel, no, she couldn't have been my family, because that isn't how I remembered it. I didn't have careers, I had a job. And I had a job. I left school when I was 14, and I left before my mother even knew, because a friend had left school at 14 and had gone to an office job here in Winchester at the castle. And of course, once you have a friend who's getting some money, you feel, no, you should be doing that, and also bringing something in to help my mum. At that time, I would love to have been a telephonist. I always had visions of putting all those plugs into the wall as it was in those days. And I thought, I can see myself doing that. And I'd also seen so many films where the ones that were doing that, usually American, were so glamorous, saying, can I help you? Only not over a shop counter, but into the phones. I didn't want to do office work. I thought, no, don't want that. I just want an ordinary little job, no office. And I ended up getting a job in Hunt's, the chemist, which in my day was further up the town, and it's where the one of the clothes shops. It's near the Buttercross, and I went there and I got all of 15 shillings a week. I think in my mind I thought maybe I could be a chemist in my mind, but this was again right at the end of the war. This was 1944, because I was 14, and it was lovely because it was exciting because although I'd be making the teas, I was opening up all the baskets, the crates that came in with all the posh stuff, because Hunt's was the college chemist and you didn't have money coming over. Nobody seemed to pay money. It was always put it on my account. So, of course, that was a bit different to what I was used to. My husband was part of the weapons division there, which was all very up and coming in those days. But it's only now that I look back at some of his paperwork and I can see that he was quite a clever man. But I just thought, I know whatever it was he was called, I couldn't spell it, so I would just put filling in forms. I'd put Clark. I could spell that. But when I've looked back and seen some of the things that he was part of, it's good. It's good. Proud of him. Anyway, we have 3 daughters. Julie, who is living out in the Algarve, she is 62. Joanne, who is living locally, and she is a LSA helper at one of the local schools, and she is 60? No, I think she's 59 this year. And Sally, another one who's done a runner from home, and she's living in Madrid with her husband, who is in the services. And the aspirations, who'd say, yes, was to get married, to meet somebody, to get married, and to have a family. Not to go to work. No. So when I did marry, when people said, when are you coming back? I mean, it wouldn't have been here in Winchester anyway, because it moved to Slough by then at that point. And I thought, no, to me, getting married was bringing your children up. And I know I'm old-fashioned now, and I'll say it quietly, but I still think it's what Mum should be doing. Earlier this year, my husband's health took a turn for the worse. He had been poorly for quite a few years, but he's a survivor and he could keep going because that's now been 25 years. But so things have altered in the last 7 months, 7 months. So if you see any tears coming or anything, it's because those times have gone, and it doesn't seem right that I'm in the place where he wants to be in our little home. And it's little, but it's great. It's great. And he's in a home where he doesn't want to be, but he knows that things can't alter. And that's one of the things about old age that you think, what's good about old age? There's a lot of good, but when that happens, it's a bit of a blow to the system.